Hey guys, I hope all of you are doing well and everyone's in good health. Obviously, for this installment, I wanted to dwell a little deeper into some things to help you better understand, how you can combat, different things that are affecting you, things that are, probably influencing you in a negative way. And I will also want to share a little bit my own experience as well in this regard. But the key thing is that I actually want to quote from one very, very renowned and famous person who obviously has long since passed, but I'm sure many of you may have heard his name. His name is Viktor Frankl, and he's famous for creating a new form of a branch of psychology known as logotherapy, if I remember this correctly. And there is a book of his which you may have heard of also called Man's Search for Meaning, which is actually the first part documents his own struggles because he was actually someone who was in Nazi Germany at the time when World War II broke out. He was transported, his wife and him were separated, and he was taken to Auschwitz, if I'm not wrong. And it was over there that he discovered something very interesting and very unique about life. And I want to share the first part of it, and the second part is something I will touch upon and reference in a future video in this installment. As I mentioned, I want to try and keep this as crisp and tight as possible so it's of help to everyone. He mentioned that the worst thing about suffering is that we don't know how long we'll suffer. And he goes on to quote and say that, if someone had told us in 1939 that the war would probably end by 1945, yeah, we would have been upset, but at least we would have had something to look forward to. We would have at least said, okay, by 45, if we all stay focused and do the best that we can, maybe. Now, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not trying to offend anyone's sentiment out here. I'm just referencing something that he mentions in his book, and you can definitely read it. I'll leave a link in the description. But the thing is that what I found interesting was that he said that we don't know how long we'll suffer, because sometimes think about it, when we look back on certain things and we say, oh, okay, that's how long it lasts, for a big deal, and we don't think much of it, then we get challenged by the next problem. In the case for a lot of us who go through what we are going through, which is chronic depression, it's very important to understand, first and foremost, remind ourselves that this is not going to be something that's going to last forever. There is going to be an expiry date. And by expiry date, I mean that in the most positive sense, that we can overcome this. Guys, we can really overcome this. And through concentrated effort, through a lot of dedication, believe me, it can be overcome. We can cure ourselves, we can heal, we can become, human beings that love who we are and love the world around us. And I have made a very conscious effort to do that, and I can tell you it does work. I have seen many people recover, but it's important to understand that concept, what Victor was actually referring, because when you start to look at your life and your the cycle and situation you're in, you start to think of it as being forever, and it's not. So that is the first starting point which you need to sort of look at, reminding yourself, your heart and your mind, that this is not forever. Today's video is obviously about pulling out the roots of pain. And the key thing about that is to really understand what it is that's causing you that kind of pain, what's really affecting you so much. And a key thing, like I've mentioned in one of my previous videos, was about keeping a journal, talking to someone, understanding what's causing a lot of anger to build up. But it's also about first and foremost, and I could start with this, is understanding your past and forgiving your past. This could be people, situations, things you did, things which people actually said about you. In fact, a lovely quote about that, which I heard from many folks, especially one very dear friend, is that do not let other people's opinions or actions become your reality. And the thing is that it's important to, first and foremost, in point one, to go back to those past events, go back to those traumas very carefully, either through with a friend, a good set of friends, psychologist, spiritual healer. I have done all of this, and it's important to revisit that, to forgive yourself, to forgive the person, to forgive the situation, to not feel like a victim, and to, more importantly, realize that those past events can and will take time to heal. They may not heal immediately, but they can heal pretty soon. So that's the first thing, is to find the kind of right help and to revisit the past. The second thing is to stop feeling like a victim. Guys, believe me, I know that the temptation, the poison, this negative feeling that goes on within, make you believe that you're alone in this, that somehow you're on this very wrong heroic journey of some sort, that people have done you wrong and you're unable to help yourself and so on. This is a state of victimhood, and believe me when I say this, please leave the victim warehouse, circle, whatever you want to call it. Stop feeling like a victim. And I know you might say, well, it's very easy for me to say. No, guys, believe me, I was in a very, very dark place, and I have suffered for years. And I do not say this as a counselor, and I'm not trying to disrespect a counselor. I'm not trying to say this just as someone who's indifferent and just trying to tell you, get over it. Make a conscious effort to feel strong and to not feel like a victim. And how do you do that? Is by first starting to build that relationship with yourself. And that is starting by telling yourself in terms of, how much you love yourself, what's good about you, practicing certain things, which I will come to in future installments. So this entire series of 11 videos, I hope together will, be of benefit to all of you as well. And thank you to many of you who have been writing in. So the first thing is to understand your past, getting the right help to understand that, giving it time and patience to heal, stop living like a victim. All right. The third thing is to learn how it is important to be more than you are right now, which means that how can you open up? How can you unfold? How can you transform? That it is possible. And it takes a multi-pronged effort. Look, I know I wish there was just like one little solution that could just take care of everything, but you need to do different things. You need to really understand that. And in order to fully grasp past victimhood and being able to transform, you need to understand, what is it that's causing the pain? Where is the pain coming from? The mental pain, the emotional pain, maybe even physical pain. Maybe there's something that happened that has, really affected you. I know, for instance, a lot of musicians, as an example, for those of you who know that, there was like one guy I can think of is the drummer for a band called Def Leppard. Lost his left hand, the complete thing severed off into a car crash. And how from there he, rebuilt his life and so on. And, he's one of the most renowned musicians, still going strong even till today. You have to realize that you can pick yourself up. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. And this is where I come to that. A beautiful analogy that I heard once was that a farmer who is, tends to his field and is ready to grow the next harvest, has to put the seeds there, the fertilizers and so on. But in order to do so, has to ensure that the ground contains no weeds. And it's not just enough to get the weeds out, it's important to get the roots out. So being able to fully understand what the roots are and where they are and what it is that you need to take out in order to put the seeds will ensure a great bountiful harvest. Whereas if you neglect doing that, or you try to avoid doing that, you try to adjust with not confronting certain things. Look, I can be very honest with you. You may get by, but it will come back at some point, to affect you, and you may start to feel, oh, I made all this effort and it's not working. Which is why it's important, guys. First, stop living like a victim. And what do you need to do in order to help that? How do you transform? And that's the fourth point, which I'm coming to with this analogy, is pulling out the roots, as the title of this video is. That you need to know what the roots really are. Is there something in your current environment? Is there something that's going on right now? You need to be fully aware of the fact that this is what the issue is. This is what's really affecting me. This is what's really, causing me pain, this person and so on. Is it a toxic relationship or something like that? And more importantly, within this thing, is to stop blaming. And believe me when I say this, it's very easy to say for a fact. It took me a long time to get this right, to practice it, but it's not trying to say that you just be a doormat and let people do what they want to know. It means that start to respect yourself and respect who you are, and respect yourself enough to know and trust yourself enough to know that you can move away and you can, make a fresh start. And many of you might say, well, it's not so easy to do something like that, but it has to start somewhere, guys. And that inner wisdom will tell you what it is that you need to do and how exactly you can sort of move forward as well. A key thing for me to really understand for myself was that, and the main triggers I've mentioned in the first video was that, understanding where what your heart's about, that the soul really rests there, and that you, when you feel physical pain, this is what it is. And for those of you who want to help friends, who are struggling, um, for a lot of us, we feel this pain, especially with chronic depression and suicidal thoughts, all that. Most of the pain we feel, whether even if it's physical or mental or anything, is where our heart region is. And believe me, I went through medical tests initially when it got so severe, and there was nothing wrong with my heart. I was physically fine, I was mentally stable, everything was good. They just couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And this is something, it's almost like someone took a cannonball and just blew a massive hole through my chest. And I was surprised to find at that time that many people who are in the same state and suffering from depression feel the same way, that their heart feels destroyed. And it's very, very difficult to feel anything sometimes, where you just want to be alone, you want to be isolated. You wake up every morning thinking, God, why am I still alive? And you sometimes wonder, is it worth it? Am I really ever going to be happy? Am I ever going to win? And I really thought at one point, when I thought I'd gotten over it and there was this relapse that was coming, maybe I'm never going to win. Maybe this is just going to get the better of my life and I'm just going to lose out. But the truth of the matter is that we can overcome this, and we have to be brave, we have to be bold. It's going to take every ounce of strength. I will not deny this to you. It's going to cause a lot of pain, it's going to be a lot of anguish to go back to your past, to go and look at your present, to stop feeling like a victim, to learn how to stop blaming, how to become your own best friend, how to heal, how to transform, and how to pull out the roots of what's causing you that kind of pain. So reflect on this, and I really hope that something I say here might be useful for all of you. Thank you so much for listening, and I have a very important topic that I'm going to be speaking about next week, and so I look forward to catching up with all of you on the next one. Please take care, God bless, and more importantly, everyone, you can win over this. I like to believe that I've done so. I'm cautious, but I like to believe that I've done so. I'm still working on myself. I'm still doing everything I can. I love who I am. I am glad that I overcame this. I'm glad I didn't give in, and I'm glad I didn't throw in the towel and just give in to defeat. And I know many people as well who have done the same thing, and I can assure you, you make the effort, the universe will find a way to help you. And I do not say this with any kind of limited to religious context, and I'm not again also trying to disrespect any religious context. I'm just trying to say that you can win, and this can turn and become something that could really inspire you and inspire a lot of people around you. Please don't give up. It is worth